Welcome back to Think Sip Right. And well, before we get started in this episode, you've been I mean we've been really busy with a whole ton of stuff, but you actually were on a new YouTube series.
I was talking with Tony. Tony Luke now has a series on YouTube, so it's Talking with Tony. Get it?
And you're in episode 1, right?
I'm in episode 1, and he has actually his episodes up right now, so you can check them out, subscribe, and all that. Who doesn't love to see what he's up to and who he brings on? I mean,
Tony's so much more than cheesesteaks too. I mean, everybody knows him as cheesesteaks.
Oh, for
but
sure.
I mean, he's an actor.
Actor, musician.
Producer.
I mean, we can name all the stuff that he does. You know,
great singer.
Yeah.
But
And for sure, one of my favorite people.
and an awesome comedian.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
his storytelling is absolutely the best.
So yeah, I mean, it was a really fun episode.
Yeah.
You guys got to check it out.
Yeah.
It's Talking with Tony.
Yeah. And subscribe.
Yeah.
Because, after you subscribe to ours, you can subscribe to his.
Well, isn't everybody already subscribed to ours?
Crickets on that one. No, but thank you to whoever is subscribed to us.
Also, you were you were just mentioned on, what?
95.7 Ben FM. They do Ben Around Town. Eddie Heels was on there, and he gave me a shout out. But Ben Around Town is an awesome new little show that they have going on. It's not really new, right? It's been around for a little bit.
I think they've been doing
Kristen, one of the hosts,
she's been doing it.
She's
for a
awesome.
while.
So you got to check that out too.
Yeah, that's an audio clip, right? That's not
It's an
video.
audio clip, yeah.
Right, we're gonna do a Genie of the Lamp, kind of like little brief talk. And
When you presented this to me, I thought it was such a great idea, and then I started to do research on it. And
it's
I'm like,
a very hard thing to research because we were gonna originally just do this and talk about like, well, if you found a magical lamp with a genie in it, what would you wish for? And that's kind of what I want to do with this episode.
mm-hmm.
But I wanted to, we always present a little bit of facts, and we went into looking into some of the facts, and there's not really a whole lot.
Unless you want to sit there and read a
Yeah.
lot.
And it's
which I don't mind, but if I'm trying to do an episode, I like to get to the point.
Right. It's an interesting read.
I don't want to bore you guys.
Right. It's an interesting read, but it's not something that we would talk about. You could basically just say that the Genie of the Lamp origin is a Djinn, which is an Arabic thing that comes from 2400 BC. And it actually is in the Quran. In the Quran, they describe them as spirits that are derived from a fire-filled wind. And originally, they weren't contained in a bottle. It wasn't until much later that they were put in a bottle.
Do you know the story behind it? Because I actually did find out about the story behind it.
Go ahead.
With Solomon,
Yes.
right? And what was it? Djinn?
Djinn. It's
No, but it was D-I.
Djinn.
Okay, but wouldn't it be pronounced
It's still pronounced Djinn.
with the D?
Yeah, it's
Because there is Jinn.
It's like, but the D and the J
Right,
together.
but do you know the whole story behind it?
Well, I know parts of it.
So he basically stole Solomon's ring and wanted to rule the kingdom. Solomon later found him and then imprisoned him in a bottle for stealing his ring. And that's how he became his prisoner.
Right.
Right? And then I guess, I don't know how the wishes came about.
Well, originally, jinns were supposedly created long before humans, and they were what roamed the earth. They were spirits with magical powers. Some were good, some were bad. They were basically they imprisoned in the bottle. The Solomon story is the
Which
first.
I thought was pretty interesting. I actually could have read more on that.
Yeah, and actually, genies of the lamp were considered villains
Right, I heard that.
because that was their prison.
And when we think about genies, we think about good. Like, to me, like, they're just in prison because...
Well, because everybody's familiar with Aladdin.
Right.
And actually, the original Genie of the Lamp stories were when they were freed.
Arabian Night is the book,
Arabian
right?
Nights, yeah. When they were freed from the lamp, they wouldn't present 3 wishes. Originally, the genie would come out, or the Djinn would come out and present the master who found them an option on which way they wanted to die. It was never three
And what
wishes.
did they kill them?
And they would kill them however way they wanted to die, because they were going to die anyway. So they gave them the option of, I have magic powers, I can make you die any way you want, but you're going to die anyway. So you got to pick your way of going.
Right.
So then it evolved over the centuries, and
Yeah.
it became, you get 3 wishes.
Mm-hmm. Which I actually like that better.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Your
it's a lot
dad
happier.
actually has a little.
Yeah, well,
It was
during
really cool. I
during
wish we
the
thought
Iran-Iraq
about that.
War,
Yeah.
I know we should have brought it over.
It's really cool looking.
Maybe I'll get a picture of it and I'll put it up in the slideshow at the end.
Yeah.
During the Iran-Iraq War, he was over there and he brought back an Arabian lamp that looks like a genie.
It really does.
Genie's lamp.
It really
It's
does.
cool.
It is really cool.
So anyway, the reason this was a topic for me was because and here we go, it's a shameless plug, right? In my novel Souls for Supper, I did a story about the genie of the lamp, and it was a guy named Djinn who ended up being in prison because he was a thief. So it was kind of like
I do remember that. Yeah.
And then I did a spin-off story too. I basically addressed all of the typical wishes that you would hear. Like, I mean, if you go, oh, well, what would you wish for? And you ask that to a group of people,
Yeah.
it just, it's
But
mostly all the same.
But you always have to remember, though, the 3 wishes always come with
Everything
something.
comes with a price, dearie.
Exactly. It does,
All the
right?
time.
But doesn't it come with a price?
It does. Well, imagine.
I mean,
if you
even
Rumpelstiltskin in Once Upon a Time.
But
says
even
everything comes with a
in
price.
Aladdin, the genie would say, right, certain things to him. Didn't he say, like, if you make that wish, like,
Yeah, well,
there
there
was
was
something in there too?
I never understood that. That was something that Disney did, I think, with the limitations on the wishing. Because, I mean, think about it. If you had a story where this creature could just grant any wish you wanted, without any consequence.
But the only way, from what I read too, with some things, is that you actually had to become friends with the genie,
right, because
in order for him to grant your wish.
Yeah, it had
Right?
to be
There's
something.
so much myths behind it, but that was one of the things that I read.
It's what were the three things he couldn't? The genie, Robin Williams' genie in Aladdin.
He couldn't make somebody fall in love with you. He couldn't kill someone, and
Couldn't bring anybody back
from the dead.
Okay.
Yeah, which Aladdin fell into the ocean and he was dying. Like, remember, he died and Genie couldn't save him, so he was trying to
he didn't
make
die.
him talk.
He didn't die. He was drowning.
Yeah, but he was slowly dying.
Yeah, and his head bobbed.
And then he was like trying to make him talk.
Yeah.
Remember that? How did he come back to?
He brought him back onto the island. Originally, he kind of ended up getting 4 wishes because he wished for his survival out of the thing, and the genie kind of gave him a freebie.
What do you mean?
Remember when what was the temple called where he found the lamp in the cartoon? We're talking about.
I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, with the big tiger head.
Right.
Right.
So when it was collapsing, he was like, I wish to get, or I want to get out of here. Or if you're an all-powerful
Right,
genie,
and
I
then
wish...
he was rich. He was the King Ali, like that one.
Alibaba.
Right, so
which
he wished
is
for that.
the reason they mentioned that name is because of Alibaba and the 40
Right,
Thieves.
so he wished for that, and then he wished for his freedom.
Right.
He wished for...
But I'm calling BS
Why?
on his wish with the Alibaba, I want to become a prince thing. Because it never held up. The genie gypped him out of that.
Why?
Because he never actually became a prince. He was never actually a prince. Like, he wished for it. He had all the wealth. He had the celebration and everything.
Yeah.
But it was all a grand show because in the end, he really was not a prince.
But what came out of it?
Well, I mean, everything that came out of it, yeah, he ended up falling in love with Jasmine.
Well, he knew he was in love, but he had to find a way to have her or her family accept him. That's the way her dad would accept him. But in the end,
he changed the rules because he was the Sultan.
He was anyway at the end.
Right, so he really was never a prince.
But that's the thing with the whole 3 wishes is that you're making your own fate. You're causing not wishes. That's what I learned from a Disney movie. Okay, that's pretty much what it was.
Disney movies make you think.
They do.
Really do.
And that's what I think, that's what it comes down to. It's, you can make wishes, but if you don't do them yourself or be yourself, they'll never come true.
Right. So, if you found a genie in a lamp, I mean, obviously, there's nothing that you could possibly wish for because I'm in your life, and that's just awesome to begin with.
Well, I have my 2 kids, too. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, them too.
Right.
But, if you found a bottle that didn't have wine in it, and it had a genie in it, I mean, what would you wish for?
I think
one at a time.
I
Don't
know this is weird to say, and it's so probably cliche, but I think I would wish for world peace. First off, because we are and I have kids now, and I feel like I look at it in a different way, and I feel like the world we live in right now is so scary, especially to bring up kids. So I know it's cliche, but
it's cliche. But you know what? When you talk to people when you ask that, if I ask anybody else that question, most people don't actually say that. They think very selfishly, and they don't think about the whole.
Well, that would be my first. That would be one of my first. That's
actually a really good thing.
Just because, like I said, the world the way we live in, and just having kids, and I just want it to be a peaceful world.
So, are there specifics on that? Like when you say world
well,
peace...
Well, do they ask for specifics? No, they don't.
No. So when you say world peace, does that mean no one will ever argue again?
No, you argue. Arguing is part of life.
But that's not peaceful.
It's a way of living.
Okay,
right?
Why don't we say that there's no more arguing, there's debating, though? So it's no longer...
I don't really know. What I'm saying is arguments. I don't want, like, war. I don't want...
Well, I know.
I don't want, like... things to happen that are so tragic and so devastating, and that's not really by fighting. That's just people that are cruel and people that are vicious people. That's how it's really not about me and you arguing or whoever. It's about just people that have really bad things in them. I don't know.
Can I?
You do one.
Okay, so. Actually, the wishes that I put in the book and in the short story that I did are all wishes that I would make. But I had them realistically balanced out with if it's not said specifically, things could happen.
Right.
My main wish would be I want this well of knowledge. Because, I mean, knowledge is power. And I want to be able to not have all the knowledge in the universe all at once. I don't want to know everything, but I want to be able to go into this research area in my mind, and whenever I have a question about something, immediately be able to ask my brain what the answer is, and know it. Without a shadow of a doubt, know the actual facts, how the universe works, anything. I wouldn't want to know it all at once, but as it comes up, I'd be interested in knowing.
Yeah, but if you know you have that power, wouldn't you just want to know everything?
I
right?
don't think so, because if you have that power, then you know that knowing everything at once would probably just drive you nuts.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that kind of wish, it's kind of like you have to look at the pros and cons with it and how that would be.
Right, and it would have to be specific.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think with every wish, like, this is what I'm saying. Like, you have to actually...
But it'd be cool. I mean, it'd be cool. You'd be able to sit there and go, oh, well, I just watched the news and they said this one thing politically, and then this other news station said something else politically, and I'd be able to go, all right, which one's the truth?
Yeah.
And it would immediately just go in your mind. Or I could say, how was the universe created? Or, what else? And anything. Yeah. I could come up with a million questions in my head right now that I'd want to know. And just be able to know it right away. Because that could lead to other things like world peace. I might be able to know how to create world peace.
Yeah. I don't know the other things. I don't think I would ever wish for, like, make me rich. Like, I don't think I would ever want that, because as tough as times it may seem, but I feel like if it's just given to you, you don't know how hard it is to actually get, like, I don't know, maybe it's because I see it in a different way.
Well, I think because you've worked for everything you have. And
right.
It feels good to be able to work for something.
Oh my gosh, and when you get that, like...
I mean, it's nice to get gifts.
It is, I love it. But I don't think I would be like, make me rich. Like, when I was younger, Absolutely. I would say make me rich, like right now. But just because you're rich doesn't mean that you have love and health and all that, you know?
Right.
To me, it's like...
That's wealth right there.
It is,
you have
absolutely.
A life that you're happy with.
I think right now one of my wishes would be to have my parents here, living here.
That's actually a pretty good one.
You know, because my parents are in Brazil. So I think...
Like living here in the house with us?
Living here in the
You just mean in the country?
Yes. Because they're there, so it's kind of hard, you know, but I would want them to live here.
Yeah, your parents are pretty awesome.
Yeah. And so your parents. We have awesome parents.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. We actually do.
Yeah.
And I mean, they had 2 pretty awesome kids. Yeah. I know, especially my parents did.
God, where did you come from?
Well,
you don't have parents on his birth certificate.
My birth
he has
certificate.
no parents.
I have no parents on my birth certificate. That's so weird.
Yeah.
Something else I would wish for would be, and we mentioned this before. I think we did a previous episode where we were talking about stuff, and I would like to be able to open a window in time.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of goes hand in hand with the knowledge thing. If I had the knowledge thing, but I want to be able to see it. You know, not just know it, to see it. Open a window in time to any point in history.
Yeah, but if you're that intelligent in that thing, you can create that in a way. Right?
Well, maybe. If the technology is even possible. We don't even know if it's possible.
But if we're only using 10% of our brain, and you're that smart and you can use 100% of your brain, I mean, I think you can create or do whatever.
Yes, but if the technology is not actually possible.
Yeah, but you may know something like, what if another planet is really something else?
I would be able to know that with my first wish, but the second wish would enable me to actually see it. Like, knowing it and seeing it are 2 different things. Like, we all know that Lincoln got shot by John Wilkes Booth, right?
Right.
But could you imagine, not that you want to go see Lincoln get shot, but could you imagine being able to go to that point in history?
Absolutely. I mean, to me, I would actually go back to, like, Egyptian times and stuff like I would love to see that stuff.
Directors of movies could get actual historical
like I said,
things.
I think there's reasons why.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's your second wish.
That's my second wish.
Wow, you're so, like...
I think a lot. I'm a genius.
And I think my third one would just be the well-being of my kids for the rest of their life. I'm being really.
I'm really selfish. You're so good at this. Like,
I think I would want my kids for the rest of their life, because I mean they're still young. They still have to go through teenage years, which we all know how that goes. There's college years. I mean, there's so much that can happen.
I was well behaved as a teenager.
Oh, please. I mean, there's so many things that can happen. I don't know if I watched too much 2020 or Dateline, you know, but
Hannibal.
I want them to just have a smooth well-being until they're very old.
Yeah.
That would be what I would want. All those 3.
See, now it's not like I can't even follow that up. Like, you just made yourself look. I mean, you're obviously got a good heart and everything, and then, you know, I give my wishes. They're all selfish. Although I could do a lot with my wishes. I really could do a lot with my wishes.
You could. Everybody has. I think the older I get, though, like, if you would have asked me this, like, when I was like 21, 22, oh my gosh.
Get me a bottle of vodka.
I would have been like, I want to be rich. I would just be very selfish, like, with things. Like, I don't think I would want, you know, there's other things that we want. Like, obviously another wish would be, like, I want my health to be great, like, our health to be great so we can live a long life. Like, I just think of, like, the realistic things that I would actually want and ask for.
Yeah.
You know,
because
I think of my kids.
And this is kind of detracting a little bit. My mom, before my parents had me, she went to a fortune teller, and the fortune teller told her that she was going to marry someone that was rich, right? Now, my dad's name's Rich. I mean, you know, not monetarily, but
I went to
honestly,
a fortune
that's
teller
pretty
years
damn
ago.
accurate.
I mean, when I was a teenager, I think it was like 18, and she told me I was going to marry a guy with brown hair, dark hair. I mean,
Dashingly handsome.
like, that's so open.
Really great
You're going
sense
to
of
marry
humor.
a guy
Good
that
looking.
has dark hair.
Really good looking.
But seriously, you're going to marry a guy with dark hair.
I'm not marrying a guy with dark hair.
No, just,
I mean,
no,
if
but
that's
like
your
if somebody's
thing, that's
telling
fine,
you,
but...
if somebody's telling you that, like, you're going to marry somebody that has dark hair, like... But that one that told your mom that's pretty interesting.
It is interesting.
You know?
I never thought I'd get married, honestly.
Yeah, weren't you going to go, right before you met me, weren't you planning on going into the Air Force or something?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, but that... I mean, why would that stop me from getting married? I thought you were going to say, like, the monastery.
No, before you started dating, like, you were just like, oh, you know...
I was going to enlist. I mean, I worked for the Air Force,
yeah.
You know, and I loved...
Well, your dad's
I
military.
love our troops,
yeah.
You know? I came from a huge military family.
Right. Oh, yeah, your grandmother, your
grandfather.
Yeah.
You know, all my...
Both
all
your
my
grandfathers or just
both my grandfathers.
Okay.
My grandmother and my grandfather
she was a nurse,
on my
right?
dad's side were Army.
But she was a nurse.
She was a field medic, yeah. And then,
imagine seeing those things.
Yeah,
especially back then.
World War II. And then my grandfather on my mom's side was Navy.
Okay. But then your dad was Air Force.
My dad was Air Force.
Right.
So, and I worked alongside all branches of service, really.
Yeah, I wanted to say something right now, but it's completely off topic. But I'm going to say it anyway. I was actually having a conversation with somebody in a supermarket the other day, and we were talking about, like...
Because people just walk up to her in the supermarket, which is
No, we
cool,
were talking about, our, like, because, like, you know, when you're at the register and they ask, like, do you want to donate, you know, to the troops or whatever? And we started talking about, like, the military families and stuff like that, and we were just saying, like, how our troops don't get paid well enough, and they're actually on the line protecting our country, and they get paid like I mean they get paid like they were working at like a fast food joint.
Well, and
when they're there protecting us, like this country, like does that make any sense?
No,
that's all I have to say.
No,
I'm
it doesn't. Saying. And last weekend was Memorial Day, so cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
To the troops.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean it's just.
Anyway, but that goes with one of the wishes, like
my
peace,
third wish.
You know,
my third wish is totally selfish.
Another one?
Yeah.
Surprise.
But even though they're selfish initially, I could do a lot with them for the greater cause of everybody, and I totally would. I mean,
what would you do with the one that you can look into the past? What would that do for you?
Well, it depends. I mean...
You're just curious.
That, for me, is curious because you'd be able to correct... There's so many religious arguments and political arguments. You'd be able to go into history and go, well, no, that actually didn't happen that way.
Right, but if you change anything...
right and wrong.
If you change anything, you could mess up something.
Well, that's why it is a selective thing. I would not be able to travel into the past. I'd be able to just open a window and observe.
But what if you fall in, like the movies? And then what? Rick is in, like...
I'd know how to handle it because I have ultimate knowledge.
Yeah, but then what would you do there? You would mess up the future.
That's a whole other conversation.
Because maybe your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather...
Didn't we do an episode of time travel? We did.
I don't know.
We did.
But anyway, what if... And then they're like, what if you like your great 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 grandmother saw you and fell in love with you?
Then she's got good taste in men.
But see what I mean? Like that would mess things up. Isn't that from a show too? We did see that in the show.
I don't know.
A TV show.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Didn't Marty McFly's mom want to hook up with him?
Right, that. But no, in the Legends of Tomorrow, right?
Yeah, which they have no concept. I don't even get into that. They don't even have concept of time travel. Whoever's writing that show.
I want to bring up cute little trend things.
I didn't even get to tell you my third wish.
Oh, go. Still?
Well, you keep interrupting and saying, you know, eternal youth. I would want to be...
No, you can't do that.
Yes, because I want to see how
So I get old.
Not that I want you to get old, but...
I get old and you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to stay like this forever.
No, but not for my purpose. Like, I want to be able to see my kids grow up. I want to be able to see my grandkids and see where my lineage goes, and then be able to see what the future's like. I love.
So you want to just say this,
I would.
and then I get old, and then what?
Well, maybe with my ultimate
Are you going to be
knowledge-
with a 90-year-old?
Yeah, why not?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I mean,
Because that would happen.
well,
Don't even go there. Let's just keep those thoughts to yourself. Just saying.
I'm just saying, I would love to be able to live throughout time. I love life. Do you think how many
does?
books I could write?
Yeah, but you
How
don't
many
know.
novels could I
Do you
write?
know? Do we know? I believe in the afterlife.
Yeah, that's a whole other story.
Right.
We should do that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't die, you don't know what happens.
But I do because I have ultimate knowledge. I have the knowledge of everything.
But you're not dead, so you don't know. Your
But I
brain
do.
dies.
No, but I do know.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do know. Because that was my first wish, is that if I have a question, I can ask my brain it, and it gives me the correct answer, no matter what it is. Even
You're
if it's-
not going to know because that brain that you have, even though you don't know death because you did not experience it.
Well, I can ask my brain, what is death like? And it can let me experience it in my mind. See, that's...
No.
I think my wishes are really well thought out.
I don't really like that. I don't really like those.
Well, one of the things I would know is
I make the
how to
weirdest
make
faces.
you like
I really
whatever.
do.
Yeah, but so I think at the bottom we'll put maybe some people's wishes.
I'm still not done here.
Oh, you're still talking?
Yes, I was
Okay.
gonna bring up like shows.
Oh, good. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
Dream of Genie. Remember that show?
Great
I used
show.
to watch it on Nickelodeon.
Didn't they remake a movie of that with
Oh, I don't
Will,
know. I never-
Will
I never-
Ferrell in it? Not Will Ferrell. Yeah, that was Bewitched.
No. Then there was Charmed, that show. They
Mm-hmm.
were genies. I didn't know. I thought they were vampires. Did you know that?
Yeah, they were. I
genies?
thought they were witches.
Well, but they were still like genies from what I read. I don't know. Remember Kazam?
Was Shaquille O'Neal?
Oh my god. I never watched it,
I miss Shaquille O'Neal acting in movies because they were so bad they were good.
but I never watched it. He was a rapper genie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I never watched it. But anyway, I just figured I'd bring those up.
That's pretty cool.
Okay.
And Aladdin.
Well, obviously, that's number one, but we already spoke about Aladdin. Okay.
So anyway, Souls for Supper, my novel, and Ghostly Hauntings, the short story spin-off, are available at lulu.com in print and on Amazon in digital.
Why did you say it like that?
Because I gotta advertise. Cheers.
Cheers.